What's up, YouTube? I'm here to talk about the man, the dream, the legend, El Presidente Trumpo. Yes, here are 8 things that you can learn from Trump. Well, these are 8 things that I learned about the motherfucker. And hopefully you can, get off your high horse and understand he's the president of the United States. He's here to stay. And you can't do shit about it. You can probably assassinate him, but that's not gonna happen, given the fact that he's got Secret Service and shit. You won't be able to do shit to him. So let's get into the list. First thing you can learn from this motherfucker. Don't care so much about, what people think of you. Trump, he doesn't really care about anything. And it works in his favor. It just does. I think this is because, he's old. I researched his age. He's 70 years old. 70. Old people really don't give no fucks about nothing because they're staring at the Grim Reaper every goddamn day. So Trump, he's old. He already didn't give no fucks, and now he's old, so there's no real point in him having to worry about anything. It's like the older you get, the more you've been through, so there's not a lot of things that will faze you. The second thing I learned from El Presidente Trumpo is the fact that he doesn't let negative comments affect him. He doesn't let, what other people say ruin his good mood. And that's a great way to go about things. Because even if he's wrong about something, he doesn't address it. He just ignores it. Even if he's wrong, he's like, I'm wrong, so what? But, for me, the reason why I want to, make this a point is the fact that I tend to think negative thoughts about myself. But not Trump. I don't think he has a negative thought in his body about himself. Lesson number 3. The rumors that surround Trump's name all help him. They all boost him in the media. And the reason why they help him is because he is such an outrageous personality that it could be true or it could be false, whatever is said about him. But it doesn't put him in a negative light in the eye of the public because those who already think he's a piece of shit, they're used to it. They're just used to it and they accept that he's a piece of shit. So you need to understand the fact that there are going to be rumors that are going to be said about you if you try to do anything great. If you try to do anything out of the ordinary, you're going to have a lot of people that don't believe in you and they're going to find reasons to hate on you. Be like Trump and don't care. Point number 4. He says things in a simple form so that everyone can understand what he's saying. This is very helpful because what I tend to notice is that, well, let's be frank, you have people in different tiers of society. You got the rich people, you got the poor people. You got those intellectuals, then you got, the not so smart motherfuckers. The thing is, you don't want to say anything that goes above the heads of the I don't want to say unintelligent, but let's say uneducated. You don't want to say things that go over the head of someone who's uneducated. And the thing is, if you say what you want to say in its simplest form, you'll get your point across a lot easier. Regardless of if whatever you're saying, the vast majority agrees with or disagrees with, as long as they understand what you're saying, they can start a dialogue about whatever it is you're talking about, and you can continue from there. Lesson number 5. He doesn't take shit from nobody. I think this is something that a lot of people suffer with. You tend to just accept when you're treated badly or negatively as being just a part of life. But you can actually fight back. You can fight back, and it might not work out in your favor all the time, but I think it's good to be ready for conflict. You need to understand that in life there's going to always be conflict. And if you can do it in a really funny way, I don't know if he's trying to be fun, if Trump's trying to be funny on purpose, or it just happens that he says his little rants in a funny way. I'm going to put up a clip of the way he dealt with one of these reporters. I found it very entertaining and refreshing. He was a douchebag. He was pretty mean to that guy, to that reporter. But at the same time, the reporter was pretty aggressive in trying to get Trump to answer a question when he already said he didn't want to do it. Here's the video.
Information that turned out to be so false and fake out. I think it's a disgrace. And I say that, and that's something that Nazi Germany would have done and did do. I think it's a disgrace. That information that was false and fake and never happened got released to the public. As far as BuzzFeed, which is a failing pile of garbage, writing it, I think they're going to suffer the consequences. They already are. And as far as CNN going out of their way to build it up, And by the way, we just found out I was coming down. Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen is a very talented lawyer. He's a good lawyer in my firm. It was just reported that it wasn't this Michael Cohen they were talking about. So all night long, it's Michael Cohen. I said, I want to see your passport. He brings his passport to my office. I say, hey, wait a minute. He didn't leave the country. He wasn't out of the country. They had Michael Cohen of the Trump Organization was in Prague. It turned out to be a different Michael Cohen. It's a disgrace what took place. It's a disgrace. And I think they ought to apologize to start with, Michael Cohen.
Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? No, Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking our news organization, can you give us a chance?
Your organization
You are attacking our news organization.
Your organization.
Can you give us a chance to ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can you state, Mr. President-elect,
go ahead.
can you state categorically,
she's asking a question. Don't
Mr.
be rude.
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
You're attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you give us a question?
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
Can you state categorically that nobody... No, Mr. President-elect, that's not appropriate.
President Obama went too far with the sanctions he put on Russia after the hacking. Do you think they're disproportionate?
I don't think he went too far.
And what will you roll them back?
No.
And what do you think of Lindsey Graham's plan to send you a bill for tougher ones?
Number 6. He does many exaggerations and lies, and nobody really calls him on it anymore. It's to the point where you have an old, like when you have your grandpa talking shit, you just leave him. You just leave him. Yeah. That's just the point that he's at, because everyone is so used to the outrageous shit that he says, they just get used to it and it becomes a part of his personality. So he just, as mentioned before, he just says what he wants and it helps him. Number 7. To be honest, he's a pretty good businessman. He has had a lot of failed companies and failed business enterprises, but he has a few successful ones, and that's how business usually goes. You know, you do some business, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, and you don't know, but at least you tried. But he's got grit, because he's failed. He has a lot of failed businesses, but he keeps trying. That's the thing. He fails and then he tries something else. That's a good lesson that you can learn from the guy. Just keep trying to do what you're doing, and at some point something's gonna work out. Number 8. He proved that being your honest self can be quite beneficial. And the fact that a lot of us try to put on a mask, not really a mask, but we try to put on our best appearance for society so that way we can be more accepted. Not for Trump. No. He just says what he wants, does what he wants. He says what he believes. And there's something quite endearing about somebody that believes in something and they're willing to, talk about it and have a discussion about it. So the way he goes about it, sometimes it's pretty off-putting, because he will, I won't say, he'll actually discredit what someone else says if it doesn't align with what he believes. That's quite rude. But overall, being an honest person and saying what you honestly think, it is quite endearing, and it worked wonders for this guy in his campaign. Thanks for watching. Hopefully the background noise wasn't too much. I can't really do much about that because, I'm just recording in my room. But cheers!